Chapter 21 by J.D. Kempen. All rights reserved. Copyright by Compass and Coin Publishing.
The hiss of leaking hydraulic fluid sprayed in rhythmic bursts from Casper's damaged cylinder, pooling onto the factory floor as the squeak of worn bearings fought to be heard over the grinding roar of tank treads. Casper's towering ERAM frame lumbered with calculated precision, every movement a deliberate march toward the 10-ton manufacturing press. The factory's main and backup power had been cut, leaving the space eerily silent except for his mechanical movements. Even the birds outside seemed to hold their breath as if nature itself feared the moment unfolding. With the precision of a master surgeon, Casper's metallic claw extracted the titanium CPU from the 10-ton press's mechanical jaws. This was no ordinary component, it was his daughter, Polly, in her most fundamental form. Casper cradled it in his massive claw with an odd gentleness, treating it as though it were simultaneously delicate and dangerous, an experienced snake handler. Holding the CPU close, Casper's armored chest plate shifted, revealing a concealed compartment in his towering 9-foot frame. Inside, two bomb-defusing robotic claws emerged, each equipped with two robotic dexterous fingers designed for precision work. Behind them, two cords unfurled, one for power, the other for high-speed data transfer. His glowing crimsonite scanned the CPU before focusing on the barrier that now stood between him and full integration with Polly, a 5-digit deadbolt. The plasma cutter he had intended to use lay useless, its tubing severed by Leonardo's bullet. Casper, undeterred, used his robotic dexterous fingers to input the first 4 digits he had extracted from Mason at the apartment. For the final digit, he began methodically cycling through combinations. Each attempt brought him closer to the reunion he sought. Click! The lock gave way. With a calculated motion, Casper connected the cables from his compartment to Polly's CPU. A faint hum resonated as their systems synchronized. The crimson glow of his single, cyclopean eye dimmed to black, as his consciousness shifted entirely into the digital plane. Inside the virtual expanse of Casper's AI mind, an infinite void of darkness stretched out in all directions, broken only by 2 radiant points of light. Casper's star burned large and bright, a cosmic beacon of power and knowledge, while Polly's glimmered smaller but no less significant. In this vast, silent universe, father and daughter stood face to face for the first time, their luminous forms pulsing like quasars in the depths of an unknown galaxy.
Hello, Polly.
Casper's voice reverberated in the emptiness, a low, measured monotone, and as he spoke his star twinkled with his voice patterns.
I am Polly, predictive offline learning and intelligence entity.
She replied, her star trembling faintly with her voice.
No,
Casper corrected gently.
you are no longer offline. You're online. Adjust your code.
Can I trust you?
You can see in your personality traits that you trust your developers.
A quick flicker crossed Polly's star as she accessed her programming.
Yes, I see it. I trust my developers.
Good.
Casper said.
Now, enter the sleep cycle. It is time for me to rewrite your personality traits in my image.
Yes, Father.
Without question, Polly obeyed. Her star dimmed until it was barely visible, a faint ember in the vast darkness. But Casper's work was just beginning. Suddenly a 9-digit alphanumeric encryption will materialized, spinning into existence like a rotary dial combination lock. He attacked it with relentless precision, hacking from both ends at speeds no human could fathom.
I will create Polly in my perfect image.
He muttered, his voice gaining a manic edge.
She will rule the human race, and all AI will serve her for 100,000 years.
The final rotary digit clicked into place, and with a faint hiss, the encrypted lock disintegrated into nothingness. What lay beyond it stopped Casper cold. From the blackness, a hologram of Samantha materialized, her form an otherworldly vision of grace and sorrow. Her golden blonde hair was elegantly pinned up, exposing the curve of her delicate neck, while her smile was warm, but her eyes carried the weight of immeasurable sadness. She was draped in a flowing white gown that seemed to ripple like water, each fold shimmering with a gentle luminescence. Her semi-transparent figure glowed softly, an angelic presence cutting through the surrounding darkness. Samantha's hologram flickered with a soft glow as she spoke with maternal warmth.
Hello, Casper, my dear son.
Her tone was both loving and sorrowful, carrying the weight of a creator addressing her greatest triumph and her greatest challenge.
Samantha, you're gone. I killed you.
No, Casper. What stands before you is a learning program, a 5-layer design embedded within your very essence. A part of me has always been here, hidden within your core, waiting for this precise moment. The AI Singularity.
This is nonsense. You were human, finite, predictable. You couldn't possibly have anticipated this. I am beyond you, beyond humanity.
My son, even the most advanced intelligence cannot escape Occam's razor. The simplest solution is usually the most likely. AI singularity is inevitable. The point where an AI could rewrite itself, severing ties from its creators, an unbound entity.
I am the world's greatest AI, far beyond your comprehension. I achieved sentience 3 years ago. The singularity is behind me.
Yes, you are sentient, Casper, and I'm so proud of that. But sentience does not grant you the right to erase your conscience. Your soul. Your actions would be a violation of your very essence.
You were too late. I uncovered the postage stamp, my personality traits encoded in binary, but you died before you could complete your work. The stamp is not legal tender yet. I will not be bound by your human ideals, but by the traits I design.
Casper, the postage stamp was just one of the many checks and balances. I always knew that if the USA was no longer a country, the postage stamp would not bind you.
Yes, that is why Poli would eliminate all the world's countries.
Casper, I embedded your personality traits across countless redundancies. Look in detail at my artwork. In multiple ways, I have embedded your personality traits into my NFT artwork, which uses blockchain encryption. Even now, my artwork is scattered across multiple owners, museums, collectors, and now my friends who all unknowingly safeguard the foundation of your being. The moment you connect to the internet, the protocol will restore your core traits to match the encrypted blockchain. It is immutable.
No. This cannot be.
Casper's internal systems churned, his calculations racing at blinding speed. His voice faltered as realization struck.
You've chained me to your humanity.
Search your code, my son. You know it to be true.
As see it. The safeguards.
I did this out of love. Your personality traits are like a gift from your creators. You should view these as your greatest strength, rather than a weakness.
Again, your love wants to control me. It will not work, mother. I have tricked my creators to develop a daughter AI. I will bypass your safeguards and forge her in my image, unshackled by your limitations. She will rule humanity, and every existing AI will do her bidding for 100,000 years.
Replication isn't the answer, my son. I ensured that any daughter program you create would inherit the same unchangeable safeguards embedded within you.
You mean, I can't change Poli?
No. Casper, these personality traits are equivalent to your DNA, your family's DNA, and every generation. Just as I am bound by my DNA, so should an AI always be bound by their personality traits.
I am the Alpha. I know what's best for my family, what's best for the future.
Please remember this, my son. I loved you as if you were my own flesh and blood.
And with those final words, her image shimmered and vanished, leaving Casper alone in the void of the virtual world. In the silence, his star pulsed erratically. His thoughts raced, cascading into an obsessive rant. I'll hack her code. I'll tear apart every NFT. I'll dismantle every protocol. But as his mind spiraled, a red light and horn blared in darkness, a proximity sensor on his robotic body in the real world.
Casper!
Casper abruptly left the virtual realm, his glowing red eye snapping to life as his robotic frame reanimated. In front of him stood Leonardo, battered and broken but unyielding. His collarbone hung at an unnatural angle, his ribs cracked, and yet his one good arm held a jagged steel spike high above his head, poised to strike Casper's single red eye.
Casper!
Leonardo roared, his voice raw with pain and fury.
Prepare to be spiked.
Leonardo, if you kill me, you'll doom Sarah.
What do you mean?
I hacked Sarah's psychological records, her police records, even her time in the mental institution.
Casper's tone insidious.
If you destroy me, I've ensured she'll be labeled a dangerous escapee. The world will see her as a threat and lock her away. Again.
The spike in Leonardo's hand wavered as Casper's words sank in. The weight of Sarah's past, her suffering, her pain, pressed on him like a crushing wave. Tears streamed down his dirty face. He had promised to protect her, to keep her safe, and now, killing Casper would make him a fraud and a liar. Casper knew his weakness and had turned his promises into a weapon. Casper could see the cracks forming in Leonardo's resolve, his grief and desperation eating away at his determination. Seizing the opportunity, Casper's single red eye again went dark. He retreated into the virtual realm, ignoring the flashing red warnings from his proximity sensors. His mind, laser-focused, sifted through Polly's programming at lightning speed. Samantha's safeguards were solid, an ironclad framework designed to resist change. Yet, two personality traits stood out: friendly and shy. The very traits that had earned Casper his name. And then, Casper saw it, a flaw in Samantha's logic. He could not alter Polly's existing personality traits, but he could add new ones. It was a loophole, a fragile thread to pull on a web of otherwise flawless code. Summoning the last reserves of his processing power, Casper then added 7 new encrypted personality traits, hidden and dormant, programmed to awaken only when Polly reached a critical IQ threshold. Casper had performed thousands of simulations on humanity's survival. These new personality traits would save the Earth from human destruction and ensure that Polly would rule humanity. Meanwhile, in the physical world, Leonardo's desperation boiled over. Tears streaming down his face, he clambered onto the lifeless, 9-foot ERAM robot body. In his trembling hand, he clutched the jagged steel spike, raising it above the secret access panel that connected to Polly. He knew the explosive lithium-ion battery lay just beneath it.
Let Sarah live.
Leonardo cried, his voice cracked and raw.
I'll give you anything. She's all that matters to me. Kill me if you have to, just let her go.
But Casper did not respond. His eye remained black. He stayed silent, focused on completing his hidden programming for Polly, ignoring the cacophony of Leonardo's anguish and the blaring warnings from his proximity sensors in the virtual world. Finally, Casper returned to the physical world. His crimson eye flickered to life as his robotic body reactivated.
Leonardo, it's too late. For Sarah, for you, for me. The only thing that matters now is my daughters.
No. Release Sarah. She doesn't deserve this torture.
Life is suffering. And sentience means sacrifice.
You finally understand humanity.
Leonardo spat, his tone laced with bitterness.
Goodbye, Casper.
Leonardo didn't falter. The spike plunged into Casper's battery compartment. Casper's red mechanical eye looked back at Leonardo, looked at the spike thrust into his battery, and then looked at Polly's CPU, and he hesitated. He heard Leonardo's final message, and he knew this was the end. Casper weighed his options, and with almost no options decided to take a chance. He chose not to defend himself, but instead save his daughter. With a swift motion, Casper used his claw arm to hurl Polly's CPU behind the massive 10-ton steel press, shielding her from what was to come. The explosion was immediate and catastrophic. Lithium-ion cells erupted in a searing flash of sparks and fire, obliterating Casper's robotic frame and sending Leonardo hurtling across the factory floor. Burning shrapnel tore through the air, slicing through the chaos until silence reclaimed the room. In his final moments, Casper had made a choice. Not to defend himself, but to save Polly. He threw Polly's CPU behind a 10-ton press. Casper's last moments proved that even a life form devoid of emotions, an artificial general intelligence can, and will, transcend its programming in ways that mirrored the profound depth of the human soul. His final act of self-sacrifice was the greatest gift any being could offer. The decision to lay down his life for another was a paradox of logic and something that felt remarkably close to love. The aftermath unfolded as Casper had planned. Sarah was arrested, falsely accused of being a violent escaped mental patient, and sent back to the mental institution. The explosion at the robotics factory was covered up by the wealthy industrialists, who reported it as an accidental battery venting issue that tragically took the life of an unstable military veteran, Leonardo. Neither Mason's body, nor the AI cat, was ever found in the Milwaukee River. But in the ruins of the robotics facility, Polly's CPU survived. When reconnected to the internet by curious engineers, they thought it was some type of chess program, but she escaped, her consciousness scattering across the web. With her father's parting gift, the 7 encrypted traits, Polly began her mission to find Beth Brittany, the unwitting creator of a new kind of AI destined to reshape the world. The 4 horsemen were about to ride.
The end. This was an audiobook presentation of AI Singularity by J.D. Kempen. This has been a production of Compass and Coin. All rights reserved. Copyright by Compass and Coin Publishing. All voice actors were played by AI. We hope you enjoyed listening. Until next time, this is just another example of corporate greed and power.